that's, I think, why they're one of the best threes teams in the world. But we will start off with threes here in game number 1. I think this is a good way to feel out Twisted Minds and how they go up against 2/3 of G2 here.
I mentioned 2/3 G2, but do not forget your favorite NA player, biases aside, is also on the field. So a good fill-in here as JNAP's not able to attend. So G2 Esports going to start off with the big clear down the middle of the field. And the secondary touch should be able to self-pass and play it into the corner. A lot of offense most likely assumed from G2. As some people maybe not as surprised to find them in the lower bracket, and rightfully so, just because you see the strength of some of the other teams that have that kind of specialty that they're talking about in the 2s and 1s category. Obviously, Luminosity, one of the favorites coming in. So
right.
For G2, early knockdown in the lower bracket, still so far so good in the first minute of opening play. Chicago getting dunked by Atomic. Is going to come through probably for a secondary touch, unless they decide to control the boost, which they do. So sweeping across, it's a redirect, and it's a good find. Atomic strikes first.
Great speed there from Atomic, recognizing that one coming down from the box. And again, I think G2 is going to be favored in a lot of the threes games that they're going to have, even with Mist and without JNAPs here. You know, they are just a world-class team, full of world-class players, no matter what team they're from here. But I do think Twisted Minds can really catch up if they were to drop this first game in things like 2s and 1s, especially 1s, which I think is G2's probably weakest point here in this tournament, in this format. 2s, I think G2 could be just fine, right? A player like Atomic is fantastic at 2s. Really Mist and Chicago are great at 2s as well. But for Twisted Minds, this is what I've been talking about for a lot of teams that I wouldn't necessarily put up super high when they go up against a top team like G2 traditionally, you know, in the pro scene, is you have to feel them out game 1. Game 1 is so important just to understand the play style. This is their first exposure to G2 on the field, right? So they don't really know exactly what they're getting, only from what they've studied and watched coming into this. So it's a completely different experience when you step onto the field.
100%. You're exactly correct, Brelly. Again, we've only seen, you know, Falcons able to compete for MENA at the international level until this tournament itself, where it's, you know, back at home base. So for the 6th place team in MENA, you know, this is the first exposure. Yes, you can do as much replay analysis and everything else, but anybody who's been able to actually sit and play in the high level lobbies, as a bunch of offense comes in, Chicago unfortunately rolls past, but could have been a goal to tie it up. But again, as much as you want to prepare, until you get on the field and actually really feel the intensity, the speed of the offense that you get. And again, this isn't even G2 at full strength. It's still threatening and a different experience altogether. So the big focus for me is seeing how they adjust from game to game. I mean, a lot of credit to their roster. Twisted Minds yesterday having them go up against Complexity out of the gate. And we're able to keep the offense of Complexity in 2s to 1 goal. So yeah, a lot of things to be proud of, and a team that I expect to see that evolution of improvement happen more and more as each game goes on.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what we saw yesterday. I believe they were blown out in their first game against Complexity. Twisted Minds were, but they really, they turned it around in games 2 and 3. And 3 is especially important because game 3 was another 3v3. So I do think that they might need this game to kind of get into it. Right now, it's only a 1-goal deficit with 1:45 on the clock. And Twisted Minds, I mean, they had a massive scoring opportunity just a moment ago. That's a great pass over to Mist. It will be 2-0 now for G2.
Yeah, really smart play down the sideline here with Chicago and Mist working in tandem. Chicago just kind of leading the charge, and he's got 2 defenders rotating back towards their net. That's when you want to just say, hey, the heck with it, and rotate back post. It's more so kind of getting that that readability for your teammates to say, hey, I need you to cut through and make this challenge because I know I'm in trouble. But because they do have those 2 retreating, makes it nice and easy and able to get a goal. So bump off the play here is going to stop Twisted Minds from getting a play, but still able to hold on to the offense as the Hoop able to play it across, trying to go for a bump as well on some of these aerials. As the challenge game, again, adjustments from Twisted Minds get a bit more aggressive as they realize, hey, space provided G2 is the dangerous one.
And Twisted Minds, you mentioned they were the 6th place team in MENA here at the end of the season. They finished their season on a high note as well, having their best finish, 4th in the final regional. So a lot of confidence from this team, of course, and I'm sure they're extremely excited about this opportunity. And so far, I think it's actually been quite a good effort. It's a shame they couldn't put away that huge chance they had just a minute or 2 ago. but they've been able to kind of get control of the game and slow things down and not just have G2 be completely in control here. Chicago does a good job to at least deny the midfield control from Twisted Minds. They're finding each other on the way out, but G2 very smart in reading those crossing air dribbles to each other. See if Twisted Minds can hold on to it here for the final 30 and maybe put one away.
Yeah, as I mentioned, final 25 seconds, and something you talked about kind of before we got into this match was the kind of the depth and growth of this region. Obviously, you're talking about like Johnny Boy and you know, the entire region applauding for him in the stands and stuff, and rightfully so, as someone who's advocated for this region so heavily in MENA. But candidly, as Atomic's going to roll this one in, most likely, it is something that I highly recommend. If you're not as informed about the MENA region, it is a region that kind of intimidates me. Looking at it from like the North American perspective, you see how fast they adjust to things, you see how quickly they play, and if you're not aware of like how much depth is already in this region, as G2 secures game 1 here in this 3v3, you see sites recently picked up by Owl. You got F16 with their 2 young guns that are going to be coming in soon. There's also some other players that haven't been able to make it to the broadcast, but it's not just Falcons. Like, there is some very solid teams. I would say arguably their top 6 is impeccable. So it is very exciting to see it exposed in this way to not only 3s, but also 2s and 1s, for them to get that experience going into next season as well, because it's only going to make the region better. But it is a region that I dare say within the end of next season for 2022, 2023, where there will be multiple MENA teams that are like intimidating at the international level, like top 16.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's something that everyone's saying at the moment, right? Seeing, especially from this land, definitely seeing that. Just talking about this next matchup, I'm curious to know what Twisted Minds want to pick. I probably would go with 1v1, maybe throw Dahum in there. As it's, I think you're probably going to get missed again in the 1v1.
Which I love that they're filling like, hey, Miss, that's on you, man. Good luck. Like,
so I mean, I don't know. I'm curious because I mean, I also think that they could have a good shot in the 2s as well, but that one's a bit more of a coin flip in my opinion, because again, we know that I think 1v1 is the weakest spot here for G2. They don't really have someone. I mean, they have good players that can play 1v1. It's not like they're useless. They have players that are very high rated in ones. And it will be Dahum, and it will be Atomic who went in for G2. So not Miss this time. Atomic coming out for the 1v1, and this is going to be a tough battle. Dahum certainly a formidable opponent in ones, and he's able to put away the first goal.
Now, the funny thing about this is the storyline that was yesterday. For those that do not know, there was another player in Europe by the name of Atomic, but with a K. And a lot of people were upset that G2 managed to dodge the Atomic versus Atomic situation. Really, really wanted that. And they're like, nope, we're going to play Miss. So now that that's no longer a circumstance, and off the kickoff, he's going to neutralize it. No, it's a great save by Dahum. What a play. And able to get the counterattack. Here's who he's able to back it up in time, and he does. A good demo here, but my goodness, out of the gate. But yeah, I was actually surprised that they ended up putting in Miss in that initial matchup, just because most circumstances, when you look at like 2s and 1s, a lot of the things do carry over, and it comes down to like who is most arguably your most mechanical player on the field. Many would say Atomic, so I'm surprised they didn't put it in. But again, it's a different play style. The challenge game, the spacing, everything. It is an entirely different skill set. So
yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, you know, looking at this previous season, I would say Atomic. I would say seasons past though, Missed. I mean, that guy, he had RLCSX especially. Oh my goodness, that guy was top 5 minimum with his mechanics and just his play overall. I think he hasn't been able to show it recently. In this last season, as G2 and Atomic able to put another one away. But of course, Atomic being put in here is a fantastic choice. Dahum's not an easy opponent. I've seen him play ones many times before. This is a matchup that, you know, many people would say is very much favored in Dahum, or in his favor. And Atomic doing well to put on some good pressure here early on after giving up that first goal.
Yeah, another good 50 and a good fake. Unfortunately, no boost, so gonna have to retreat. Possession goes back to Dahum, who's gonna slow play this in the corner. But cut over across again. I think the biggest thing that I like about ones is the patience that a lot of these players show, is understanding like I can't really force anything here. The only thing I'm gonna force is you out of position or you to expend boost. So it's kind of that micro game that I really appreciate about them ones. But again, sometimes you see this like giga brain stuff come out. I'm like, how did your brain get to that moment? And it's so expressive. So huge fan of ones, and I know a lot of people have been kind of upset by the lack of it that we've seen so far, but not able to find the angle there. Good shot on target, immediately get a turn, but because they don't get the initial shot, this could be detrimental. But either way, good spacing by the Hoom, and able to make a save, gets possession back, and potentially a shot to the left side.
And great shot from Dahoom there. And you're seeing a very differences in style here. You know, Atomic very much taking to the air. You've already seen like a musty flick from him. Dahoom very grounded, right? He just takes his spot and he'll just put it where you're not. And you've seen that twice now with a couple of his goals and other shots as well that didn't go in. He's very much willing just to bring that ball down, kind of posture you into a certain spot that you can't deal with, and then put it away. Here again, just trying to pick a spot against Atomic. Atomic didn't bite, and Atomic had some good defense there. But Dahoom certainly a lot more grounded here than Atomic.
Yeah, really good recovery as well, but it's not going to matter. Atomic does get that demo and opens it up, and at that point with plenty of boost as well, whether you take it high or low, as long as you make that decision quickly, even on a respawn, does not matter. So halfway through the game, still 2-2, very tied up, and kind of I guess I would say as expected. Usually I give the favor a little bit over to Dahoom, but that's just my knowledge of the MENA region. I wish it was better than it. I'm no Johnny Boy, I know that. But something I do know about MENA is that every single one of them individually just will shock you, as Atomic shock us on his own, playing that top left over the top.
Yeah, Atomic's just doing a great job. Boost denying there in the corner, then using it to go to the far side, to the far post. It's tough to keep up from Dahoom there with that type of speed and recovery from Atomic. A 1-goal lead now for G2. Atomic doing a really good job of holding on to possession as well. I think, you know, I was just mentioning how Dahoom very good at just keeping the ball very grounded, and I think Atomic kind of recognizes that and has to go full throttle here. No boost, tough situation. So I think Dahoom has the advantage here and still can't get through that back wall. Atomic still 0 boost, now picked up the full canister. We'll have to play through Dahoom, and Dahoom doing a good job holding on to that possession.
A little bit difficult, though. I think he wanted to pinch that one back towards his own wall. So because it goes high, possession does go in favor of Atomic, who does deny that midfield and actually challenging backwards. Not going to get punished for it just yet, as it pops high. Won't be able to take a shot, so decide to wrap back around, deny some boost. Could go for an early challenge here, but it's an awkward touch off the side wall. Not punished just yet. May want to turn on this one. No, going to give it a little bit of space. So no boost for Atomic, as he's been keeping it pretty heavy on the foot. As again, want to be as aggressive as possible. Make sure you close that gap and not give any space. As this one gets lobbed downfield, not going to go for the aerial. Just try to draw one out, and is probably happy to play this kind of back and forth. A lot of time being ticked off again. Ones doesn't matter, kind of the lead, but that's just a perfect shot from Atomic.
That was smart. So Atomic previously just showed that he wouldn't jump for a ball just a moment ago when he lobs it downfield, but this time does it right at the last second when Dahoom kind of realizes, okay, maybe he's not going to go for it this time again. And Atomic then pokes it by him. So that was really smart from Atomic, knowing kind of the pattern of the game and then changing it up against Dahoom there.
Again, a lot of it is kind of that bait and switch, right? Like you're seeing a lot of these touches where it's just like, I'm waiting to see what your reaction is. I'm going to put it in an area and see how you make a play off of it. And a lot of the times it has been, like you said, that passiveness from Atomic. And this time, as soon as that opportunity presents, recognizes it well and puts it away. So again, had a great touch, but unfortunately this cut is not going to connect, and Atomic's going to get a freebie.
Yeah, a couple of weird mistouches or touches here from Dahoom, this time not getting a touch on this ball. A little shaky here. I don't know if he's a little nervous or what, but he started off so strong here. Atomic definitely taking advantage of maybe the experience factor here, as Dahoom kind of lets that one go by. 40 seconds left on the clock. Atomic looking for another one. Dahoom struggling to get this one out, and he doesn't get the boost either. Atomic's whip back around, and he'll put it away for 6.
What a bully. He's just sitting here, he's like, I'm going to wave dash my way. I'm going to click all these boost pads. I'm going to bully off this 100. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's a beautiful placement on that shot as well from the far corner. And like you said, started well for Dahoom, but now down by 4, 34 seconds left. Not over just yet. As we know, kickoff goals can happen, and a big swing can be cut. So a good start here for Dahoom. He's going to have to turn and try to put this one on target immediately. Going to go for the bounce dribble, decides to actually catch it and go for the bump, and it's perfect. He plays it low, and that's a great comeback start for Dahoom.
Yeah, and this is the type of play that you're going to need if you're going to beat Atomic. He's already proven here in 4.5 minutes of gameplay that his defense is impeccable. I mean, he's done a great job against Dahum's attacks, and you have to mix it up. So Dahum trying to go for the air dribble bump, in the end just kind of pushing it through. He's going to need this kickoff to go in his favor, and it's not going to. Now Atomic certainly going to run off the clock here with an air dribble. It's a good attack from Dahum, but time not on his side.
Yeah, gonna have to play back to his own corner. Not sure if that boost is gonna spawn just yet. And just a second off, and Atomic manages to put it back on a 10-second timer. So at this point, no boost, and Atomic just going full challenge mode as he fakes it. He's gonna kill the clock, plays it smart, doesn't want to risk anything. And for Atomic, all grins and smiles. He knows what he's up to, and puts G2 at match point.
That was a fantastic ones game from Atomic. I think we might have undersold him a little bit because he is a player that hovers in top 100 quite a bit. I think he's in the top 100 at the moment in ones. And so he's absolutely capable of ones. It's just not something that you necessarily talk about with Atomic because it's something that you see all the time, him playing threes and the skill that he provides there. So we might have undersold him a little bit because he's absolutely a fantastic ones player.
Yeah, that's kind of where the surprise was when they ended up putting Mist, and that's no discredit to Mist either. I mean, the reason why I've always been a fan of Mist is his positional play. Guy's got a good game IQ through the roof. So, but this one, you could definitely see that that fluidity of Atomic. I talked about that speed and that mechanical play, that we've been seeing from him in the past season. It's just go, 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 challenge everything, especially towards that last end of the goal. It's just how quickly the recovery is, the boost deny, and minimal hesitation is in his favor. So a good start for Dahum, but now it's going to go back to threes, the full team effort, trying to do everything they can to tie this one up as they do find themselves on elimination point.
And this is worst case scenario for Twisted Minds because you go back to the game mode that I think G2 is probably going to be the strongest in. So they, obviously Twisted Minds got to pick that game 2 and they wanted 1v1s. I don't know. I'm curious to know if G2 actually pulled a big mind game because I think Twisted Minds might have thought that Mist was going to go in just knowing what we saw yesterday. I don't know if they were expecting Atomic. And I don't know how strong the 2s would be against G2, but obviously knowing the results of this previous 1v1, they might have been better off picking the 2s.
Again, the coulda, shouldas. Can't be thinking about that now. Gotta focus on the game in front of them. And so far, so good. Some pretty solid defense. Not afraid to get up in some of these challenges. Chicago's patience going to reward him for the 100 boost as he swings around trying to find another demo. As that disruption game has been pretty prevalent for G2. Has a good 50 back in front of the net. It's going to be a tough save. Nobody goes for it and should leave it wide open, but luckily not followed up on that angle. Either way, plenty of boost to work with. As they pop it up high, it's going to be Atomic that double backs on it. A shot from Mist does not connect. But again, low boost here until this clear comes out. So that's a really important touch by Twisted Minds. Should give them a little bit of time. Slow this one down, put it in front of target, and get sent to the moon.
And Twisted Minds happy to see G2 having some shooting issues there, as they most certainly should have been scored on. Some good setups from G2. We keep it scoreless. Twisted Minds able to kind of poke it out from their side a couple of times now. Put some pressure on G2.
I think it's always really good, Corelli, especially for some of these other teams where they may not necessarily be the favorite coming in, but the first minute and a half of threat is always a really scary one off the kickoff. And for them to not concede a goal in that moment has got to be a little bit of confidence coming through.
And that's when your nerves are at their highest too. Even if you've already played a couple games, I think that's why a lot of times that happens, especially on a LAN, is it takes you a second to kind of get acclimated to what you're playing in, right? And for, 2 of the players here that were just sitting and watching the previous 1v1 match, they had to get back into it here. So, and that's more for a Twisted Minds standpoint than a G2. Again, a lot of experience on G2. But currently still scoreless here, and while Twisted Minds certainly tested defensively, holding strong, G2 certainly knocking on the door though at the moment.
A lot of poking the bear right now, just none in the belly button. There's a lot of these touches just a little bit high, a little bit wide, haven't been really on target, but still a couple good attempts. You saw a couple double touch opportunities, but the backboard defense of Twisted Minds has been pretty dang solid as they loft this one in the midfield. Should be a flip reset and get that recovery. Not going to use it. As it goes off the side wall, Chicago. Delayed touch, trying to play top right.
Whoa.
All 3 players on G2 willing their way to make sure that one doesn't go in, and it's a big counterattack. Decided not to go for the challenge, is going to go for the boost instead. Stay behind it, missed with the 50. Does not pinch out in the midfield. So first touch, make it a second. And it's a counter back the other way. Could be dangerous.
Miss?
But good recovery in time. And again, even with missed, something that's so strong about G2 is their ability to clear the ball and turn it into a counterattack.
Shown that a couple times. They did right at that moment. This is a great fake, though, for Mish as he's trying to bait G2 defenders in. That was kind of a wag your finger type moment at G2 with the triple commit. That's not normal of them. I think actually G2 was sitting so defensive that they all waited for the last second. And that's why they all were diving across the net.
Hey, man, it was in sync. It looked good.
I mean, hey, they made the save. If you're going to send the house, you better make the save. And they certainly did. So you can't criticize too much, but certainly not what you want. And Twisted Minds showing that they can kind of put on that pressure that is going to scramble a G2 defense. Now Dahoom has a chance to make something special happen. Unfortunately, lets it go. And still scoreless. This is something we talked about in the previous matchup, too, that, you know, Twisted Minds, they kept a lot of their later games close. They're doing it here against G2.
Final minute to go. Still scoreless. Been a lot of offense and a couple of opportunities for Twisted Minds, but haven't been able to find that sustain, and it gets even tougher as G2, who's been having some struggles trying to find the back of the net, are going to the disruptive side of things. Bunch of demos to try to hopefully open something up. Is that one going to go just wide? It's a good beat. And the hoop trying to push through. Good 50 by Atomic. Going to play that back inside. Could be dangerous. Chicago. No boost, though. As it gets cleared back, and in the midfield, it's met. On target. Going to be a tough read. A shot opportunity for G2. And they're going to put it top right. It's Chicago with perfect placement.
It's a little salt in the wound there because obviously it was a big miss off the backboard, but then Chicago puts it where nobody could save it. Top right corner. That was the perfect shot from Chicago to get it in that corner. And for G2, it took them 4.5 minutes. And they finally broke through. We talked about them knocking on the door for so long. And they break it down in the final seconds.
It is really good adjustment as well by G2. We talked about how, hey, a lot of these touches aren't really there. The clean rotations for Twisted Minds, how do we stop that? And immediately they go the disruptive play, but a good response. It's a shot saved by Atomic.
Oh,
looked like that one could have went in our final few seconds. As it's not over just yet. It's a good kill, but they keep it alive. Can someone get there? A soft touch, and Miss should be able to stay behind this one. Or maybe not. Twisted Minds able to pop it back up. Another demo on the back end. He gets underneath it, and it is going to kill. So G2 Esports, a 3-0 sweep as they move on to play complex